Alright, deck breakdown time. So we're going to start this time, of course, with Bolas, the deck winner. Now I know last time I didn't review the losing deck, which is a totally different thing. I'm not going to go ahead and review Phyrexia at this point in time. I am going to review Ajani for the next installment, so everything's going to be equal and kind of balanced out and not all topsy-turvy. So we're going to start here by Nickel Bolas, Planeswalker. Costs 4 colorless mana, 1 blue, 2 black, and 1 red. His abilities are pretty much the same as the actual normal print. The only thing that's really different is the artwork. He comes into play with 5 loyalty points, and his only plus ability is worth 3 loyalty points, which destroys a target non-creature permanent. So that includes lands, enchantments, artifacts, anything that's basically not going to try and beat you in the face actively. His -2 ability, which is his second, is gain control of a target creature, which is really nice because for the amount of points he can rack up quickly, and even though he comes in with 5, say, and I'm just going to use my deck as an example, I have my 30-30 turn starting Primordial Hydra with Trample out on the field. Someone can basically, everyone and anyone who has this card is going to go, guess what? Mine. 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 Mine, 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 mine. Mine. And his third and final ability, which is -9 loyalty points, is he deals 7 damage to a target player. Target player discards 7 cards, then sacrifices 7 permanents. So he's kind of like an Eldrazi without actually needing to have an Eldrazi, and he costs less than 40 bajillion mana. That's a lie. Eldrazi only costs 15 at the max, I think. And we're going to assume it's 40 bajillion. So that is the current art. It is real. And that is Bolas. Mana. 9 Swamp. 5 Mountain. 7 Island. 2 Terramorphic Expanse. 1 Rupture Spire. 2 Crumbling Necropolis. Breakdown. Swamp taps for black. Mountain taps for red. Island taps for blue. Terramorphic. Tap, sacrifice, search your library for a basic land, put it on the battlefield tapped, shuffle your deck. Rupture Spire. Comes in tapped, sacrificed unless you pay 1 of any color mana. Tap to add any color whatsoever, period, ever in the history of anything into your mana pool. Crumbling Necropolis. Comes into play tapped. Tap for blue, black, or red. Not all 3, 1, or the other, or the other, or the other. Where was I? Everything else. Right. Creatures. Going through one at a time. Igneous Pouncer. 5/1 haste. Converted mana cost 6. Swamp Cycling 2. Mountain Cycling 2. Ingestion Zombies. Converted mana cost 6. 2/4 with Fear. Island Cycling 2. Swamp Cycling 2. That was bouncing out of the range of camera. Slavering Gnolls. We know what Slavering Gnolls does. Morgue Toad. Converted mana cost 3. Going out of the shot again. Backing up. Can't back up any further, so we're going to deal with that. Sacrifice Morgue Toad to add 1 blue and 1 red to your mana pool. It is a 2/2 frog. Steam Core Weird. Converted mana cost 4. Whew. Running out of... When it comes into the battlefield, if a red was paid for it, it does 2 damage to a target creature player. Firefield Ogre. Converted mana cost 4. 4/2 with First Strike. Unearth cost of 1 blue, 1 black, 1 red. Brackwater Elemental, CVC 3. I'm going to abbreviate that from now on. It sounds like a hipster douche. When it enters the battlefield, when it attacks or blocks, sacrifice it at the next end step. Unearth cost of 1 blue, 2 colorless. Morii. Morii. Converted mana cost 4. 4/4 with flying. At the beginning of your upkeep, you lose a life. Funny story about this card. I was doing a test match. You want to know what happened? Played this sucker, put Elder Mastery on him. So he became a 7/7 with flying that made people discard 2 cards. I had Liliana's Caress on the field. This is with my special deck. Ignore that. Here's where it gets funny. I had 1 life left. I played this derogatory term not referencing anyone who doesn't use their turn signal. I killed myself. Surveilling Sprite. Converted mana cost 2. It's a fairy rogue. It's got flying. When it dies, you draw a card. 1/1. Dimir Cut Purse. Whew, I'm going to slow down from now on. Converted mana cost 3. When Dimir Cut Purse does combat damage to a player, that player discards a card and you get to draw one. Hellfire Mongrel. This deck comes with 2. At the converted mana cost of 3, it's a 2/2 Elemental Hound. At the beginning of your opponent's upkeep, if they have 2 or fewer cards in their hand, it deals 2 damage to them. Nightscape Familiar. Converted mana cost 2. Blue and red spells you cast cost 1 less. For 1 black and 1 anything, you can regenerate him. He is a 1/1 zombie. Shriekmaw is a converted mana cost 5 card that I actually really like. He is a 3/2 with Fear and Evoke. So you can pay him as a spell for his evoke cost, but he's sacrificed when he enters the battlefield. So basically it's for his other ability, which is when he enters, you destroy a non-artifact, non-black creature. So it's basically getting a free die. Die. Blazing Spectre is a converted mana cost 4, flying, haste, spectre, 2/2, and when it deals damage, that player discards a card. Ogre Savant, we know what Ogre Savant does. Time. Now we will start with the shortest stack out of the rest, which is Instants. Undermine, which is a converted mana cost 3, counter target creature. Target counter spell. Its controller loses 3 life. Counter Squall. Counter target non-creature spell. Its controller loses 2 life. Grixis Charm, which is a converted mana cost 3. You choose one of the following. Return target permanent to its owner's hand, or target creature gets -4/-4 until the end of turn, or creatures you control get +2/+0 until the end of turn. Agonizing Demise. It is a converted mana cost 4 with a kick of 2. Destroy target non-black creature. It can't be regenerated. If Agonizing Demise was kicked, it deals damage equal to that creature's power to that creature's controller. We have a double here. Spite and Malice, which I used. Spite, which is the blue side, counters target non-creature spell. Malice destroys target non-black creature and prevents it from being regenerated. Recoil is a converted mana cost 3. Return a permanent to its owner's hand. That player discards a card. Vapor Snag. 1 blue mana. Return target creature to its owner's hand. Its controller loses 1 life. So that was the instance. I cannot stack to save my life. And here are the sorceries and artifacts. And enchantments, actually. Profane Command is which I said. It's the choose 2 of X abilities. It is converted mana cost 2 with X. Elder Mastery is a card I also played. It is converted mana cost 6. It is enchant creature. The creature gains +3/+3 in flying. And whenever it does damage to a player, that player discards 2 cards. Slave of Bolas is another card I played. You gain control of a creature. You untap it, it gains haste until the end of the turn, and then you sacrifice it on your next end step. Rise and Fall. Both sides are converted mana cost 2. 1, which is Fall, costs black and red. Rise costs blue and black. Rise returns a target creature card from the graveyard to the target creature. Let me start that one over again. Return target creature card from graveyard and target creature on the battlefield to their owner's hands. Whew, mouthful. Haha. Target player reveals 2 cards at random from his or her hand and then discards each non-land card revealed this way. Obelisk of Grixis is a card I played. Mana cost 3 artifact that taps for blue, black, or red. Pain and Suffering. Suffering costs 4 mana. Pain costs 1. Pain, target player discards a card. Suffering, destroys a target land. Deep Analysis. The artwork on this card does in fact feature Bolas and another item which is in this deck, which is Icy Manipulator. So we'll do those 2 back to back, starting with Deep Analysis. Converted mana cost 4. Target player draws 2 cards. Flashback, 1 blue, 1 colorless. Pay 3 life. You may cast this card from your graveyard. Icy Manipulator costs 4. It is pay 1 and tap target artifact, creature, or land. Cruel Ultimatum costs 2 red, 3 black and 2 blue, and target opponent sacrifices a creature, discards 3 cards, then loses 5 life. Then you return a creature card from your graveyard to your hand, draw 3 cards, and gain 5 life. And then second Obelisk of Grixis. So that was the review for... That actually wasn't the official review. That was just a rundown of the deck list. Let me reassert this camera right there so you can see my hideous mug. So, what I thought of the Bolas deck. As I said, I don't think you can see that very well. Okay. What I thought of the deck, I've had problems in the past with it generating mana. Unlike how it performed now, which is kind of funny, I always had issues getting the cards in Bolas's deck out because most of them cost larger amounts of mana than Ajani's do. So when I started the game with a mana, I was actually quite surprised when I started pulling it quicker than Ajani, who started the game with 2. That doesn't normally happen, and I bet it has everything and anything to do with the fact that I don't normally cut the decks away that I did in the video. I normally just give them a quick shuffle and say, alright, let's go to Pound Town. Overall, the Bolas deck I feel performs to what I imagine Wizards of the Coast expectations were in a Bolas-like way. It is something that is meant to rigmarole your opponent so they have trouble getting any admirable offense off, and then when they are officially going, well, hate your face, you say, that's cool, I eat you. Nom 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 nom. Meow 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 dragon breath roar. So I like the deck. If I had to give it a number out of 5 stars, I'd actually give it a 6. That's a lie. I'd give it 5. I don't think it was as great as it could have been, which is why I have a special cut of it, which will be coming up in a later video. Box art. Top of the box says Nicol Bolas deck. Blue, black, red, the colors of the deck. The card art says Nicol Bolas at the bottom, Magic the Gathering at the top. Your deck box will not say uncut with a little slash beneath it. On the back says dual deck, Ajani versus Nicol Bolas. And the back of the Bolas deck box says Avarice and Deceit. And for some reason it has a little Innistrad symbol. So, that is Bolas, and that is a very mean and unhappy dragon who needs some counseling and a nice bubble bath. I am Zolkanax of Hydro, aka James Bell, and this has been Scrub Corner.